today. So if the communication wasn't as consistent, I'm happy we can all do this today. This is really awesome. And I'm happy for you guys. I'm excited to get into all this. This is going to be great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
appreciate you working with us.
No, no doubt.
We're already going here. So we'll jump into this real quick. Hey folks, welcome into the News 12 Now Desk. Thanks for joining us here on this Friday, May 5th. Hopefully your Cinco de Mayo is off to a great start. We got a nice day outside, and hopefully it stays that way throughout the weekend. We are joined here by some very special guests. Let me pull everybody up here. We have got our sports director, Dan Booth, joining us today, as well as some members from the Aquinas girls soccer team, the state champion girls soccer team. So we have got Coach Melissa Minton, Sean Brandes, Riley Washington, and then the players in the back, Landry Minton and Landry Washington back there, a midfielder and a forward. Part of the state championship team. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, congratulations on a state title. How does it feel being able to say you're state champs?
It's pretty amazing, especially considering the journey, which I know we'll get into, but I don't think we expected this when we started. I know Riley definitely said we're going to win region, and I thought that was great, but dreams of being a state championship really didn't start to materialize till much later in the season.
Yeah, and so you guys have had kind of an interesting road here the last 2 years. Last year, struggled to get your footing, I think is probably a nice way of putting it. And then this year, just a complete 180. And you talked about, getting into the journey a little bit. What enabled you guys to make that turnaround from, kind of a bottom of the barrel team to all of a sudden a state championship powerhouse?
I'll do a little history first. When this coaching staff first got together, it was January of last year, kind of last minute, been asked to come in and support the girls soccer team. Riley and I didn't know each other. I knew Melissa briefly. My daughter had attended the school a few years ago, but we got together in January. We started our practice 2 weeks later. I personally didn't learn all the girls' names probably for another month or two. And then Riley and I, and there's another coach, Andre, who's not here today, but it was a big part of that team gelling initially, but we didn't know each other. We didn't have the same philosophy, and it was just a lot to overcome from the coaching standpoint. What'd you think, Riley?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Starting this year, it was a lot better than last year because we already knew each other. We knew most of the girls. We only lost a few seniors. We gained a lot of good freshmen, but I think we gelled from the first minute this season, so that helped us a lot.
Yeah, and it's something that can be so difficult coming off of a tough season like last year, can be getting the team to buy in to what you guys are selling and really believe in themselves. And that's something that can be tough for all of us, let alone 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. How are you guys able to do that, and what was the response from the team early on in the season?
Yeah, even late in the season last year, I could tell that these girls were committed. They were not taking each defeat as like, oh, well, we lost. They were angry, and they wanted to get better. And so we had some fundamental principles that I talked about since I started last year that all the coaching staff and I think the players have bought into. It's respect, it's thinking, and it's hustling. And that's respecting yourself and respecting the game, understanding the nature of the game, always being able to anticipate a situation and hustling. We worked very hard on our conditioning. We were not going to be outworked on the field this year. And so that started at the end of last year and it carried in at the beginning of this year. But we had some really great folks that came back, particularly our senior class and some of our junior starters that were on the team last year that wouldn't let anybody, slack off. We worked hard at practice. These two behind me here made sure of that.
Yeah, and I wanted to get to the Landrys back there. So Landry Minton, the senior up there, what have the last 4 years been like for you to kind of go through these ups and downs and then be able to finish it with a state championship on the highest of highs?
My freshman year, I truly believed we were going to go all the way. We had a different coach at the time, but COVID cut us short, so I didn't even have a full season freshman year. And sophomore year, we did all right. We were just kind of average. And then last year, we changed coaches, we changed playing styles, and there were just a lot of different girls on the team. And then coming back to senior year and going all the way just it really warms my heart. And I know that's cheesy, but seeing us get together as a group and be able to do something so good and making school history was just amazing.
Yeah, and for you, coming off last year struggling and then coming into your final year, nobody wants to struggle their final year of high school sports. So what was it like for you coming in this year saying, like, listen, guys, we got to lock in because I'm not going out the way we went out last year?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I mean, I told them, I said, we have nothing to lose. We're already making history. So just sell it. Just go all the way. We don't hold back. Don't leave anything out there. Have no regrets going into the finals.
Yeah, and clearly you didn't, and it worked out for you guys. Landry, or Dree now, I guess, right? That's what we're calling you, Dree, on the other side. So what's it been like? You're a junior, right? You said? Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
what's it been like for you to see this senior class the last couple years and kind of learn from them and watch them go out on top?
The senior class is really special to me. I've seen them go through a lot of heartbreaks throughout all 4 of their years. Freshman year, I played with my sister and this group of seniors, and it was pretty hard because we were in a different region. But last year was tough for everybody, and this year they really were like leaders to all of us, and they really wanted everyone to have a good time. And we acted more like a family this year than last year, in my opinion. But This year was really great with them.
Yeah, was there a point in this season that you guys were like, this is, I guess, for everybody, was there a point in the season that you guys were like, this team is special, we can really make a run at this thing?
Yes, there really was. When we started to have more wins, like when we beat Richmond Academy, it was a big 3A school, so we were kind of confident then. And then when we beat Lake Laconia in the region championship, we really were certain that we will go far in the state playoffs, and we did and won state championship.
Yeah, Nick, I mean, I know for the coaches up front, though, we were, I think, most nervous that first game. I actually went and scouted a little bit to get ready for that very first game because we didn't know. And I was telling the girls earlier, sometimes if you're used to losing, which unfortunately we were last year, when you get behind, you kind of hang your head and it's infectious. Well, it turns out winning is also infectious. And so after we got that first win, and then as Dree said, we started playing some tougher competition and coming out on top, the girls expected to win. And I think that was a huge difference from last year where even though we never gave up, I don't know if we expected to win. And so this year when times got tough, and we had a couple good matches against Lake Oconee, and I'm sure we'll get to the championship game. That was no easy game either, but the girls knew that they could come, they could do it because we'd won all year, and they had that confidence.
Yeah, and we do want to get into the champion. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, keep going.
No, I was just saying I definitely agree. It was a good season for the girls. I knew at the beginning that we'd be a good team because we have a lot of good chemistry with the girls. There was a few club players that really know what they're doing, and they knew how to possess well together. So I knew that we'd do really good because we had good defense too and a solid goalie it just made a perfect team for us this year.
Yeah, good defense, but I'm looking at your schedule here. For a lot of these games, you didn't really need it because you were scoring so many goals. You talk about that first game, beat Westminster 4-0, then you followed that up with a 10-0 win over Lincoln County, and that seems to be a theme here. 10-0 over Greene, Washington Wilkes, Carrollton. You guys were able to really put in a lot of goals there. I did want to get into the championship game itself, and I know Dan had a couple questions on that, so I'll kind of let him ask you guys a few things now here.
And it's funny because Nick was just talking about your guys' schedule and how you guys kind of led into things. And through the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, you guys didn't allow a goal. So I guess the phrase defense wins championships reigns supreme in that area. But when it comes to state specifically, just knowing how, you guys had the 1-0 lead at one point, and then it was just back and forth and back and forth. Late in regulation and in overtime, what was it like trying to not only stay composed, but be in the moment, knowing everything that you guys have put through this season to put yourselves in that situation and have this great opportunity? What was it like dealing with the emotions back and forth of everything that went on during state?
You said we were composed? For me, again, it was probably the most nerve-wracking game I've ever been a part of. It really has. I mean, we didn't expect for them to come back and get that second goal to tie us up late. But as I kind of mentioned earlier, I mean, the ARC game and the Lake Oconee game, the girls showed their true mettle. They were not going to quit. There was determination up and down the field. And so I had confidence in that we were going to find a way to get it done. But I was certainly nervous. I don't know about you all.
After regulation, And when we huddled back up right before overtime, I could tell that some of my teammates were getting a little nervous, getting a little antsy. I mean, going to overtime in the state championship is not super easy to think about, especially in the moment. But I just told them it's the same sport, it's the same game. We've played this team before. We know what we have to do, and as long as we continue to work together, I know we'll get results.
And in playoff runs like this, or in seasons in general, as a coaching staff, how important is it for you to have players, whether it's seniors, underclassmen, whoever, who can be extensions of the coaching staff? So in moments like that, having the ability to talk to the team and say, hey, guys, we got this. We've been here before, or at least we've put ourselves in this position, and now it's time to really cash in and bunker down for these last few minutes.
I mean, you said it. These are two captains. Caroline Jackson's our other captain, and those three people led the way as far as making sure kids kept their heads up, understood what we had to do to get this done. But that's the reason when we early in the season chose these young ladies to be captains, because we definitely felt like they understood what we were trying to accomplish. Would you say, Melissa?
Awesome. Nick, what you got?
Well, I was gonna turn that back to the captains back there and ask them, where does the quality come from for you guys? Where do you draw that leadership from when the going gets tough to turn around and say, hey guys, we're just playing soccer. At the end of the day, we're just in a game against 11 other girls in the other team. We're just playing soccer. Where does that composure come from for you guys?
I mean, me and Dree and Caroline, our other captain, we all play club soccer, so we've been playing for a long time. We know what it's like to lose, but we also know what it's like to win. And there's nothing better than being able to stick it out through a tight game and then come out on top. And the only way to get there is to make sure you keep team morale up. So I think that just making sure people, like my teammates, knew that we can get there. We just have to keep trusting each other. Soccer is not an individual sport. There's 11 people out there for a reason. Just making sure they knew that really helped.
Yeah, and after regulation time, Landry had a speech, and all of us got a little emotional. But I mean, after we were saying that we were a team, and we need to work on how we built leadership up into this until that state game, and it really came out after the win, because I mean we kind of handed it to them during the overtime, but yeah, we really stuck together throughout that whole 20 minutes, and we came out on top.
The only thing I'd like to add to that is, if you saw on the shots there, we had an outstanding support section. Fans and family. I mean, this school, Melissa and James, the athletic director here, they arranged for buses to come, 2 full busloads of fans. And the student section was there. They were as loud and as critical in keeping these girls' heads up as anybody. I mean, it was crazy to see. I mean, girls soccer isn't always the most popular sport, but you couldn't have told that the last 3 weeks for our school. I mean, this school has really rallied behind the girls, and they were a big reason why I think they were able to pull it out in the end.
Yeah, winning's always popular, so it doesn't matter what sport it is at that point. If you're winning, you're going to be quite popular out there. At what point in the state championship, because you guys put in 3 in overtime, and it was kind of over before it was over. At what point did it really sink in? Like, hey, we did it. This is going to happen for us.
I felt like once we went into overtime, I felt like I kind of knew that we were going to come out with the win, because nobody even talks about going into PKs or even having a chance of losing. I felt like we just knew right then that we were going to push through to get a win out of the game.
I mean, when the clock struck 0, I mean, actually, we had a couple solid goals at the end there. Morris had a great goal. Caroline had a super header at the end that really kind of sealed it. And at that point, we were able to let everybody have a chance to get on the field. I think every player that could suit up and play was able to take the field that day.
Yeah. That was such a coach answer, man. When the clock hit 0, you're up 3 goals in the state championship. I'm sure there was a point where you were like, all right, I think this one's about wrapped up. We can put everybody in there.
At that point, it was to make it 2-1. I was getting cocky then, and then we made a tactical error. Well, let's put some more people on defense so we can make sure we hold on to this lead, and that was wrong. And so when we got that 3rd goal in overtime, Riley and I both looked at each other like, yeah, we're going to keep the foot on the gas. We're going. Do not put any more defense. We're going to keep going, and that's why we got 2 more goals.
Yeah, that 2-goal lead they always say is like the worst one in soccer, whether it's 2-0, 3-1, because all of a sudden they get one lucky one, and just like that, it's a 1-goal game. Dan, did you have anything else, man? I think I covered most of my stuff here. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up to what we were talking about a second ago. In terms of the support from the school and the fans and families and everybody who was involved there, as players, what was that like for you in those key moments, being able to look up briefly into the stands and see your family, your friends, your classmates, maybe your teachers, whoever, to draw inspiration from that to be able to go out there and close it out?
Honestly, I didn't even look up. I heard them, and that was enough. It was really great having so much support this year, especially because we had been working so hard. And so hearing them calling our names, chanting for us, it was a morale boost, and it might have been a little bit of an ego boost, like after we scored.
Yeah, I mean, soccer is not a really popular sport at Aquinas, I guess, because we haven't been that successful in the past years. But hearing them like cheer us on pretty much all season, like our boys soccer team was cheering us on all season, it felt really great to see everybody up there. And having 2 fan buses head up to Atlanta was the best feeling ever. Because, I mean, we really never had that much support in past years. It just felt great having so many students, like our classmates, just seeing them be happy for us. And it was just a really happy moment after that game.
What does that say about your school that you guys are able to all come together, and doesn't matter the sport, if somebody's doing well, we rally behind them? What does that say about Aquinas?
Sorry.
It says that we're just a really big family in this high school. I mean, all of us act as like we're just brothers and sisters. Well, kind of not really like that weird, but it's just that we're just a family, and we act like we all love each other, and it's just a great high school to be at.
Yeah, there's certain advantages to being at a smaller school and one that has such strong values and history. I mean, maybe not in the girls' soccer program history, but in the community history. Like my daughter went here, but she doesn't go here now, and I'm still affiliated with the school. Our other coach who couldn't make it here today, his daughter graduated, doesn't have a current kid at the school, but came out to all the practices and was a huge part of the team's success as well. It's been really, really awesome to see, and I'm just feel blessed to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I mean, Dan and I have both been to those football games. We see how tight-knit that group is, and all the alumni and whatnot now having their kids there. It is really cool to see. Dan, that was all for me. Was there anything you had that you wanted to ask before we let these folks go?
Yeah, I just one last thing. Just obviously, how special of a moment this was and what this means for you confidence-wise. Just what does this mean for your program and future teams moving forward, saying that this team was able to get the job done?
Yeah, we're looking to build something here for the future. I mean, this was just the first step, a great first step. But as long as the school will have me and Riley will let me roam the sidelines with her, we're gonna be here for a while to stay. But in true Aquinas fashion, we have something for you, real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
bring it in, girls. We do everything together on this team.
Love it. Very cool.
One last
Hello,
cheer.
everybody. Congratulations on the state championship. Thanks so much for coming in.
Hey, guys, congrats. This is awesome.
All right, thanks again for having us. We really
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll have this same conversation again next year.
Down on it.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, have a good one.
Recording stopped.
So there you go, folks. That was the Aquinas girls soccer team, the state champions for the GHSA Single A Division 1 or Division 2, going undefeated this season and bringing home a state championship in overtime in that game. So that was pretty cool. Dan's calling me right now. Well, we're going to tell him we're still live. Still live. Okay. All right. So yeah, big thanks to them again for joining us, and one more time to get their names in there. Those were the coaches: Riley Washington, Sean Brandis, and Melissa Minton, and then Captain Landry Minton, and she's a senior, and then other captain Junior Landry Washington. So big thanks to them for joining us, and congrats again on all that success. So that's probably gonna wrap this up right now. About 11:22 here, a little earlier than normal, but I got to do midday today, so Yeah, we'll see you back on the TV side of things at noon. Thanks for tuning in.